A new threat has emerged to take advantage of escalating civil unrest. They are known as Umbra, a faceless organization that wants to build a new world order. They claim to promote an egalitarian utopia to gain popular support.
The video games industry has a reputation for being a fairly liberal or left-leaning place, but recent marketing campaigns by very prominent studios seem to suggest that many people who work in these companies have no clue what is insensitive or have no real finger on the pulse of what's going on in Western countries, in particular America. So a couple of weeks ago we had the new Call of Duty teaser trailer, which featured Yuri Bezmenov, and he was pushing basically this far-right conspiracy theory. I made a whole video debunking what he was saying, but just saying how troubling it was that Activision and Treyarch would put out this teaser trailer. And of course what happened is reactionaries and the far-right pounced on this trailer saying that Call of Duty was red-pilling people and getting people over to their side. So yeah, please check out that video. But that is not the only culprit, because recently Ubisoft, who publish lots of games that I really like, including the Assassin's Creed franchise, recently put out a video for one of their upcoming games. Now this game is going to come out on iOS and I think other mobile platforms, and it's called Elite Squad, and it seems like one of these crap mobile games that essentially just let you choose like a party. There are various different characters from throughout the Ubisoft franchises, including, Ghost Recon or Rainbow Six. But I think it would help if you guys watch the trailer and see how it's really using groups like Black Lives Matter or maybe other leftist groups as these faceless villains who are just pushing for social change as part of some insidious agenda. It really reminds me of the Call of Duty teaser trailer. Now before we watch the trailer, if you want to support my work, please like this video, maybe subscribe to the channel, check out my Patreon and social media in the description. I've also just started a podcast with my girlfriend. The first episode is out on Spotify and it's just us talking about our upbringing in a Catholic school and how he became atheist through that experience, so check that out also in the description. So with all that out of the way, let's watch this trailer.
The world is in an alarming state. Wars, corruption, and poverty have made it more unstable than ever. As the situation keeps worsening, anger is brewing. From between the cracks, a new threat has emerged to take advantage of escalating civil unrest. They are known as Umbra, a faceless organization that wants to build a new world order. They claim to promote an egalitarian utopia to gain popular support. While behind the scenes, Umbra organizes deadly terrorist attacks to generate even more chaos and weaken governments, at the cost of many innocent lives. Simultaneously, they have been hacking social media to discredit world leaders and rally people to their cause. Under immense pressure, world leaders have come together to authorize a new international cross-agency unit designed to combat Umbra. It is clear, playing by the rules will not win this fight. The leader of this unconventional squad will need to recruit elite soldiers from every corner of the world, including the criminal underworld. As commander of this unprecedented squad, we need you to put an end to Umbra's campaign of chaos. Welcome to Tom Clancy's Elite Squad.
So isn't that a nice trailer, basically saying that in the troubling times that are going on in the world, there is an egalitarian movement who wants social justice and social change, wants equality for everyone, and it also acts like this is just the front for their real agenda, but then it doesn't actually talk about who this sinister organisation behind it are in terms of are they just using the optics of a leftist movement to take power? It just says that they're sort of behind the scenes creating more chaos and also using social media to discredit world leaders and stuff. It doesn't really seem like they're even being very subtle with this, and saying that the response that is needed is one that doesn't play by the rules, and some of the characters they put in there obviously are from very covert agencies within the Ubisoft franchises. They also put El Sueño in, who is the dictator of Bolivia in Ghost Recon Wildlands, and he basically has created a drug dealing state, and he's an awful person. So apparently that guy is a good guy in Ubisoft's mind. And that's a bit on the nose for, like, you know, this neoconservative view of the world, that this drug lord is somehow good because he's anti-leftist, whereas all these leftist people are bad. But also let's notice the iconography. Obviously have a clenched fist like that, and some nerds on the internet saying that is not synonymous with, you know, Black Lives Matter. Of course it's not. But of course you can't argue that a black symbol like that with a black hand, which has been prominent in the news lately, you see that everywhere, and it's very, very associated with Black Lives Matter currently. And historically that has been associated with leftist workers' movements. So whichever way you cut it, it is associated with organisations like this. So they're obviously demonising leftist organisations to the delight of the YouTube comments section. Again, this is what is so problematic about this stuff, you know, the Call of Duty stuff. Now this is in a time where the bad guys are so clearly not the left wing. It's not Black Lives Matter. It's these armed right-wing militias. It's the Trump administration. It's the police. These are the bad guys. Why are these game studios insisting on making the people protesting systemic racism, police brutality, you know, the flaws of our economic system? Why are these guys the bad guys? Again, you think these people would know better, and I'm going to get into the reaction within Ubisoft. There are a lot of employees unhappy with this, but let's read some of the comments on this YouTube video. Again, like the Call of Duty one, thank you so much Ubisoft for promoting far-right propaganda. So someone says, oh damn, BLM getting its proper adaptation. Damn, I wish our world leaders in the real world will organise those elite squads to destroy the real world Umbra. Someone else saying absolutely based and red-pilled. Someone else saying finally someone depicts the mob for who they are. Someone else saying, oh great, we get to fight against Antifa. Oh wait, I'm sorry, it's Umbra. And just one funny comment which I like. So gamers, keep politics out of video games. Also gamers, when a developer makes a game with right-wing conspiracy theory plot, oh my god, I love this. And I'm actually going to make a video on that later this week in terms of right-wingers actually love politics in gaming and sports and, you know, everything, as long as it fits their own political agenda and political narrative. So Ubisoft apparently have removed the video, although I just found it on YouTube. So Jason Schrier, who you probably know from Kotaku, who now writes for Bloomberg, has reported on all of this and the reaction within Ubisoft. So I'm just going to read his article quickly. So Ubisoft removes videos seen as insensitive to Black Lives Matter. Video game publisher Ubisoft Entertainment will remove a controversial scene from its latest mobile game that appeared to link Black Lives Matter imagery to a terrorist group, according to internal message reviewed by Bloomberg News. Last week, Ubisoft released Tom Clancy's Elite Squad, a game for iOS and Android in which the player builds a team of fighters to take on Umbra, a terrorist organisation. In the game's introductory video, Umbra is portrayed as a faceless organisation that wants to build a new world order. Umbra, which uses a raised black fist as its logo, is described as a group that attempts to stoke riots and undermine world leaders through social media. The video became the subject of intense social media criticism over the weekend, coming against the backdrop of violent protests in Kenosha, Wisconsin, following the police shooting of Jacob Blake on August 23rd. This year has been an inflection point for the Black Lives Matter movement and has seen widespread calls for racial justice after a policeman killed George Floyd in late May. In June, Ubisoft said it would donate $100,000 to the NAACP and Black Lives Matter. On Saturday, Ubisoft apologised for Tom Clancy's Elite Squad video and said it would remove the raised fist imagery from the game. On Sunday, in a thread on Ubisoft's internal message board, Manor employees said that they were furious that this had to happen. Ubisoft needs to do better, wrote one employee in a lengthy message reviewed by Bloomberg. Charlie Guillemot, the game's creative director and general manager of Ubisoft's Owlient studio, responded with an apology and pledged to remove the entire introductory sequence from the game. In the future, we will more rigorously review content produced and about to be released in order to help us avoid similar mistakes, he wrote in an internal message reviewed by Bloomberg. Apparently this was originally developed in 2018, not that these undertones of fascism in the time of Trump were really only a tiny bit less relevant, but again, when you're releasing this as a trailer and you see everything that's going on, maybe the people who made it should take a step back and be like, yeah, maybe we didn't have this in mind when we made it, but look at what's going on in the world right now. This is really painting a movement that apparently us as a company support in a bad light. Maybe let's not release this, and they probably should have changed it before, not after the backlash. But this is just another example of these types of video games trying to cash in on what is happening in the world at the moment, trying to appear as edgy, trying to appear as, you know, irrelevant as they can be, And of course, when a lot of leftists don't actually have a massive voice in these companies, I'm talking about the leadership of these companies, which people seem to think if you are some sort of millionaire, billionaire with okay social views, you're a leftist. You know, people call Joe Biden a leftist. People in America are genuinely crazy about politics in terms of they don't understand a political spectrum where apparently everyone to the left of Donald Trump is a Marxist, including people like Joe Biden, who wrote the crime bill, including people like Hillary Clinton, who oversaw a real hawkish foreign policy. Apparently these people are all Marxists and leftists. But it's clear people like us do not have their voices heard as much, because if they did, things like this would not happen. You would not have Call of Duty, literally the biggest entertainment franchise in the world, pushing far-right conspiracy theories about, you know, Marxists infiltrating everywhere to push social change to undermine Western values. Of course, that's cultural Marxism. Or you have stuff like this game where it's saying that a faceless organization are behind, you know, protests for equality, but we're not going to even talk about why they're bad. It seems to be just because they are undermining world leaders, and now the Elite Squad don't have to play by the rules. So let's hire this drug lord from one of our other games to help us crush them. No matter how many ways you cut this, no matter how many ways you say, this was made 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you of course are going to review it before you publish it. And where is the people at Activision, at Ubisoft, who have a brain in their head and can see that, you know, even just for a marketing standpoint, this backlash is going to be damaging to your brand and will make you look like hypocrites in, you know, the broader sort of spectrum. You just don't want to promote fascist conspiracy theories as a company, or at least I hope you don't. But maybe this proves the point that, you know, capitalists will always side with fascists when the time comes. Capitalists will always back them over leftists. We see that throughout things like the Cold War. The US, of course, backed multiple fascist dictatorships. They crushed multiple leftist movements, tried to topple multiple leftist governments, because, you know, a fascist government to them, as long as it's capitalist, as long as it helps them do business, is always preferable. So maybe in these companies, they do know what's going on and think, yeah, we'll get some pushback. Maybe people will pick up on this, but really tapping into this market of people who are super reactionary, who are super right-wing, and I imagine the fan base for Call of Duty is probably dominated by the right-wing, especially in America, then maybe that is a risk worth taking. But in terms of that optics, just a really bad look, and it's just annoying that on one side of the spectrum, you have a company, you know, even though it is exploitative, like Naughty Dog, who publish a game like The Last of Us, which has some good progressive themes, has you know, an interesting story, an interesting message, has good representation of, you know, marginalized people. And then you have other groups like Ubisoft, which is run like a frat house and does marketing that appeals to fascists. And you see in the comments how Ubisoft's message is welcomed by the online gaming community, and how Naughty Dog and the whole team behind it, the creative team especially, are completely harassed and getting death threats for, you know, all the stuff they chose to put in The Last of Us Part 2. And for those of you who are interested, I made a whole series looking at the politics of the online gaming community. Parts 1 to 3 focusing on the Quivering, focusing on the Ackman and Angry Joe, so go check that out if you're interested in that stuff. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please, again, like the video, maybe subscribe to the channel, maybe share this video. If you want to find me on social media, follow me at the Kavernacle on Twitter and Instagram. Also, check out my Patreon in the description, and I thank all my patrons as usual. Please also check out my Medium and WordPress, and like I said, please check out the first episode of my podcast on Spotify talking about being raised Catholic. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.